Well, is it okay to draw by tracing? Well, this depends a bit on what we mean by is it okay. And there are two ways we can look at this. Is it okay allowed, or is it okay helpful? So let's look first at, is it allowed? Now, there are no art police going around saying these are the art laws for how you draw, and this way of drawing is approved, this way of learning to draw is approved, and these ways aren't approved, and you're not really doing art, or you're not really learning to draw if you're not following the rules we say. Great news is there's no such thing. So if tracing is something I find enjoyable, satisfying, calming, and it fills my creative needs in just the right way, fantastic. While there are no art laws, there is another set of laws, and one of the laws within that is copyright law. Let me just add a quick disclaimer here that I'm no legal expert, I'm not a solicitor, I'm not trained in law or copyright law in any way, but this is my understanding of how copyright law affects us as artists in this situation. So if you need legal advice on copyright law, make sure you seek it out from suitably qualified people. Now, tracing does have some implications with copyright law. We have a problem in that tracing, whether we're tracing over a photograph or whether we're tracing over a drawing that someone else has done, in both cases is an infringement of copyright law. And copyright law is there to protect the creator of an artwork from having that work used without their permission and or without their benefit. The legal situation is the photographer who took the photo or the original artist of the drawing that we're tracing, they each retain copyright control over their work. It doesn't mean we can't use the work of other creators, but it does mean we need their permission to do so. And let's face it, no one particularly knows what my art process is or what I'm doing just in my own home. But if I want to put this artwork in the public domain, such as on social media, under copyright law, I need the permission of the copyright holders of the works that I derived my work from before I can do that. And of course, we should credit the original creator of any works which our work has used in its creation. But we must remember that crediting is not the same as getting permission. So, is it okay to draw by tracing? Well, there's another way of considering that statement, and that's, is it helpful? If I'm on a drawing journey, is it a helpful stage in learning to draw? Is it a way of moving from easier ways to draw into more complex ways to draw? And I think the answer is, it depends. And it depends on where I'm wanting to go in my drawing journey, where I want to end up. Because not all creative endeavors that may look quite similar or quite helpful on the outside will take us necessarily to the place we want to go. And at this point, I'm going to suppose that if someone's drawing, it's because they would like to get to the point where they can draw freehand in some way themselves. And such a person may feel that tracing when they're starting off is a great way to start, because in so many ways, it's so much easier than drawing freehand. And of course, that's true. The question is, when I'm tracing, what am I learning? And when I trace, what I'm learning is, and what I'm developing, is a skill to lay a line over the top of another line. This great concentration and this great focus on lines, going around objects, creating outlines. The skill that's most likely to develop and to become stronger is my skill of laying a line directly on top of another line. Now, the question is, if what I want to do one day is to draw freehand, is that a skill I need? And the answer really is no. If I want to be able to draw freehand, the skill I need to develop is how to observe and look at my reference, whether that's on a photo, in front of me, or in my imagination, and through my own unique creative thought processes, work out how to convert that from the reference onto the paper using whatever media I want to use. And in my mind, that skill is much, much harder to come to understand and to learn all of the various thought process skills that we need than the actual drawing skills, than, if you like, the technical ability to be able to draw a straight line, to join lines up, to do circles or whatever it is. And you can see the problem with tracing is that we do not develop any of those skills. And instead, what can happen is, because it's easier and quicker to get a nice looking drawing tracing, we become dependent on having that nice little drawing after our drawing session. It becomes an important part of our satisfaction. So it can feel very counterproductive to move forward in a way where I'm producing a drawing that in the short term is not looking as good as what I was doing tracing. And we get to choose, of course, what we do. The more I think about it, the more drawing skills that I believe we need to develop a good freehand drawing style, the more I come to realize that tracing not only doesn't equip us in the skills that we need, but it actually gets us looking, thinking, and developing skills in a direction that really won't be relevant when we draw freehand, and therefore are going to be unhelpful and perhaps make it harder for us to develop good habits for learning to draw freehand. Because every way of drawing, every approach has its own pros and cons, but also its very own specific skills that it both needs and trains us in as we draw in that way. I would suggest that we draw in a way now that will take us to the place we want to end up in our drawing. And sometimes what can appear to be a shortcut to being able to produce better drawings is actually going to be a diversion, taking us away from the place we're trying to reach. G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. I hope you get my point. It doesn't matter how we draw, how we create, what techniques we use. In the end, it's our own creative journey and experience. And if I'm enjoying that, great. But quite apart from any legal aspects of copying, of tracing, we do have the fundamental issue that some ways of drawing not only don't equip us for other ways of drawing, but can actually build habits that will be unhelpful in trying to draw another way. So my advice is that we should think about, where am I wanting to end up in my drawing? What am I wanting to be able to do? And I start doing what I'm doing for that in the best way I can find right now to get there. But look, whatever you're drawing, whatever method or technique you use for drawing it, make sure you have fun. I'll see you next time. Bye.